I'll show you how I drew this piece. Hi, I'm Lionbunny and I'm a charcoal artist. I'll share my 4 steps and also what I like and don't like at the end. So yeah, let's go. Step 1, foreground. This step is the most simplest step yet. It's just basically covering the white paper with my lightest value of charcoal, and I'll go into why I do this in this clip right now. 3, 2, 1. First, I have my charcoal blocks. The reason why I don't use charcoal sticks is purely because of texture reasons. You hear that? It's a different material. But with these, you can't hear anything much. And that is because these are mostly made of a very soft material. You see here, if I just touch it, it easily leaves texture. This is way more impressionable than this. Normally, I use the lightest value I have and then place in the foreground. I don't do like large strokes because if you look very close, even if I spread it out, you will see the remnants of it. And so that's why I do little dots, and also I use my palm mostly to spread it out for me. Oops. As for the reason why I do this, you see this rubber eraser? And also, you know it's a good rubber eraser when it stretches like this. It's very elastic. If I want like the white of the eyes, it is harder to do that when the page is like already white. This new page versus the grayer one that I just did. If I want the white of the eyes, I have to draw around it and then do something like this to form the shape of the eye genuinely. And then I have to, like, you know, erase it and then all that. I think, personally, that is just a bit more time consuming than I would like. So, instead, what I do is if I do a line like this, you see how white it is? I'm not sure if you can see it. Here's a visible difference. And then I can always cover it up again very easily. I personally call it the foreground because it can also add to the mood of the piece. In that clip, actually, you may notice that my reference on my iPad is not the same reference I'm using for this whole drawing that I'm showing you, and that is because initially I wanted to show you guys a different drawing, a more simpler one. I think it's because I talked at the beginning and I don't do well with drawing and talking at the same time. It burned me out quite quickly. I don't know why. In the end, I just dropped it because I didn't feel like it anymore. It could count as a downside to this whole process because it does happen occasionally when I'm doing a piece, but I also think that it's a good thing to quit earlier if it's already burning you out, tiring you out, and you have no motivation to finish it. Or maybe you could quit it, move on to another thing, or take a break and come back to it with a fresher mind and then see how it is. Step 2, base sketch. For the base sketch, it is very messy at first. Well, my whole process is messy, but in the beginning, it is particularly messy. For this step, I use 2 of the lightest values that I have and save all of the darker ones for later. Step 3, 4, and 5. Wait, no, step 3 and 4. The most important thing for this step is actually anatomy. So I actually made some layers on Procreate to kind of show you the basic, very simplified ideas of what I have in my head. And I can't do a whole section on it because that will drag on for way too long and need its own video. And besides, I am not the best teacher of anatomy, not at all. So I don't really want to do a video on anatomy because I really don't think I'll do it justice. I'm sounding like a broken record. For blending, I use my finger and my blending stump. The blending stump is a very useful tool because of the different planes and angles I can use on it. Also, the blending stump is a bit similar to pen pressure for me because if you look at it really closely, obviously, you can see the whole amount of dark charcoal just embedded in it after so many months of usage. So if I press down a little harder, the dark values will eventually come out. For the line weight, I mainly keep it more thick for this step because I save the thinner lines and finer details for later. This whole phase is just drawing, sketching, but also face anatomy, light, shadow. It is all the stuff that is set up for step 3, which is step 3, darker shadows. After I feel okay with the base sketch, it doesn't have to be perfect, just satisfactory, I move on to the next step, which is putting shadows and putting the more darker areas. This step is really simple because I already set up the guidelines for myself. It isn't just about shadows though, it is also about really establishing the warm and cool tones now. Because if you take away the saturation from the reference, I think you can kind of see where the warmer parts of the skin can look darker. This step is actually, now that I think about it, kind of similar to step step 2, except it's just using different values. I still use the same blending techniques, the same blending tools, it's just with darker values. Also, while you watch the rest of the time lapse, my schedule is kind of packed, but I will try to post a long form video every 2 weeks on like my time Sunday, 2 or 1 short/reel per week. No promises, but I will try my best. And if you made it this far into the video, thank you so much. It really means a lot. As you can see, I do little charcoal pieces along with my attempts at commentary. So if you want to see more of that and want to support me, then you can subscribe and like. Many thanks, and let's continue on with the drawing. Next up, we are going on to step 4. The last step, rendering. I don't know why I said it like that, but rendering. Rendering is putting the darkest shades of charcoal on top. And I also use the white and black charcoal pencils. For the white and black charcoal pencils, they are hard to erase once they go on the paper. When you rub it, you can clearly see the line and it's tough to cover up. So that's why I save them for the last step, because I have to be really sure and delicate and careful about where I place them. It's not really that serious as I'm making out to be, but it is a bit more of a delicate process. And then I think at some points in the recording, I was literally holding my breath while doing the piece. That's something I notice that I do often actually, and it's kind of funny. For the darker shades of charcoal that I save for last, at least with my set, I don't know if it's applicable to everyone's set of charcoal. The one I have actually has different, really subtle different hues, and in this clip I'll explain what hues they are and why they're important and why I need to know about them. The reason I switched from this one to this one is just because I don't know if you noticed, but this one has a bluer tint while this one has a greener tint. This block causes a more blue, cooler shade, while this one leaves a more green remnant, which I am not really a fan of at the moment. If you look really closely, you can see the different values within these charcoal blocks. Here is more of a blue tint, here is a pure black, and then here is like a little bit of a green-ish tint. And I think it will add like so much more variety. And of course contrast and all is very important, but it's just having those different hues of charcoal that I think like add more variety and then like spice things up a little. Also, I reinforce the highlights, but if my kneaded eraser isn't enough to really get a strong white highlight for the eye, I use white paint. I'm not sure why I didn't just use a normal eraser, but at the time my brain just did not think of that. I did kind of set myself a bit up for failure by doing that. I mean, I did use white paint before for charcoal and it went okay, but for this one the eyes were rough, like it was way harder than it needed to be. I kind of messed up like 5 times. So I needed to cover it up, do it again, get it off, cover it up, do it again. But I used water to blend. I genuinely don't know what was in my head at that moment. I mean, yeah, granted I'm using a water brush, but I wasn't supposed to use it like that for the cheek. And then it made the cheek like way too dark. I do regret that. That is something I do regret. The reason why I used a water brush pen is because the end of the pen has a really fine tip, and I don't have a paintbrush. The only paintbrush I have is bristled, old, not that good, and I keep forgetting to buy a new one, so the only material I had at the time was that. So sorry. Did I make mistakes? Yeah. Did I mess up? Yeah. Is it good? I guess so. I don't hate it. I have to say, I think this is a standout piece for me, because actually a good thing is, to add to the good and bad things list, I never do dark backgrounds. The only kind of dark background I did is with Totoro, as you can see there. I'll give myself some points for that. The only thing I kind of don't like is the shadows at the cheek. I think that area is way too dark. And then also the expression. I don't think the expression really matches the reference. I know it's a good attempt, and I'll give myself that. It's a good attempt. But at some point, I really just want to nail the expression down. I'll keep practicing. But that's a goal that I have for myself. Also, I have some pictures of when I made really minor changes and I couldn't film it because my phone storage was literally crying for mercy. I don't think you understand. So here are the pictures and I'll point out which changes I made. In the end, here's the final result and the final time. If you made it this far, thank you so much. It means the most. I hope that some things that I said make sense. I was really hesitating on doing tutorials, and this doesn't really count as a tutorial. This is kind of, here's my process and me explaining some stuff and hoping that it makes sense. But hopefully you at least got something from seeing my whole time lapse. But yeah, I'll continue to practice, make videos, and try my best. Also, if you want to see the piece, I have it right behind me. Hopefully you can see it. But here it is. It's real. So
Hello! So, sorry for the lack of usual attire and the messy hair. Okay, next up is going to be a reaction to a subscriber's video they did of trying to imitate my art, and I didn't know where else to put it because it was too short to be its own video, but also I just didn't really know where to put it. Segway.
How do I start? I just posted the expression video yesterday, and I did get this one comment that piques my interest because this person said that, oh, I made a YouTube video trying to follow your tutorial. And then I was like, really? This is from Slightly Insane Bee on YouTube. I attempted to imitate one of the best charcoal portrait artists on YouTube. Anyway, if you're watching this, hi. Let's get started.
I draw a lot of different kinds of art. I draw anime style people, I draw realistic people, I draw animals, I draw lots of things. Many other artists tend to stick to one area of expertise. I thought it'd be interesting if I studied their medium, technique, subject, and so on, and imitated them and made my own art, my own original art, kind of based on what I learned from them. So this is my new series, Imitation Artist. So without further ado, let's get into the first YouTuber I'm going to study, the lionbunny.
The first time I saw that, I screamed.
When I came across lionbunny on YouTube, I instantly thought, this artist is incredible. She does very...
You can't really tell, but I'm smiling.
Notice that she uses her fingers to blend a lot.
I do.
But yeah, she gets real messy.
I do.
So, and she uses a pretty big piece of paper.
I do.
I'm probably just gonna use my charcoal notebook, which is this size. And she also always seems to have a reference. So that's gonna be probably the next thing I do.
Reference. Very important, at least for me.
So I landed on this one, which there's not much of a background, but you can see more of her neck, and
that's a good picture. It's a good starting picture.
Much smaller than what the lionbunny tends to do, but
it's
it
okay.
should work. She tends to go in with big sticks, I've noticed, first.
Yeah.
Before she goes into detail with like little ones.
You explain stuff better than I do already. You explain stuff way better than I do.
Like, I don't know what this does. Oh, I feel like I'm making mistakes already. And then she like smoothed it out with her hands. Oh.
Yeah, my process is really messy. It's not for everyone.
I'm messing up, aren't I? How does she do this without putting fingerprints in it? What is that?
No, it's okay.
I think we need to focus on not making the outline, but just making shadows and shapes.
Yes. That is exactly what I do. She's already explaining things way better than me, and I'm grateful for it. Anyway.
Is it good? Not really. You can see kind of where I'm going, right?
That's good. I like that.
This is the little girl at the end of the hallway. Okay,
no.
Remember, So if you're wondering why my camera is vertical instead of horizontal, I'm just so used to shorts that at
Me too.
keep doing it that way. And
I literally did the exact same thing in my latest video. That's so funny.
I didn't show how the sections of hair kind of intermingle. Instead, I just accentuated each strand, and it just doesn't give the same effect. So I'm very disappointed that
it's a learning process. It's okay.
I can appreciate that it looks like a person. It looks
Small
like
wins.
a human being. But anyway, here is the finished drawing.
Review.
So I finished the piece. Is it one of my favorite things ever? No. Is it even one of my best pieces? I would say no. The real question is, did I do a good job of imitating the lionbunny? Now, my first instinct is to say that obviously nothing compares. I genuinely don't know how she even gets the portraits to be so smooth looking. Like, it's blended well. There's great contrast. It just looks smooth. Like, I did try to imitate her technique as best I could with what I had.
You did really good.
Just from her shorts and her videos, the lionbunny comes off as such a modest, kind person.
Thank you.
And it was an absolute joy to imitate her art. And the lionbunny, if you happen to be watching this, thank you for creating your art, because you are what inspire artists like me. I hope you enjoyed the first episode of the series.
Oh, she did make my channel.
Bye guys.
Thank you for what you said. It really means a lot. And honestly, I never thought that people would be inspired by my work like this. Eventually, I did feel like pressure of algorithm and that stuff and views. And then I kept trying to remind myself that, like, you're doing this for fun, right? Sorry if this is random, but a little small part of me was like, what if, like, no one comes back? What if no one notices? And then so to actually have this, it means more than, you know, this really uplifted me. And it it made me really happy. So thank you so much. It means more than you realize. I didn't sign it or put the date yet. Looking at it now, it's really not that bad. But yeah, hope you enjoyed, and bye-bye.